There's a quiet battle happening every time someone speaks, and most people never notice. Words march forward, polished and intentional, while the face reacts a split second earlier, raw and unfiltered. A seasoned observer knows this isn't accidental. It's neurological. The face answers to the limbic brain, fast and emotional, while words are assembled later by logic. That gap is where truth tends to leak, whether invited or not. He's seen it countless times in real conversations, interviews, even casual dinners. Someone says, "I'm fine," but the face flashes something else for a fraction of a second: tension, contempt, fear. It's subtle, almost poetic in its brevity, yet powerful if you're trained to notice it. Like a magician's assistant blinking at the wrong moment, the face gives away the trick. And once you learn to see it, you can't unsee it. Most people think lying is about fabricating words, but that's a beginner's mistake. Lying is actually about suppressing reactions, and suppression is exhausting. The face, unlike language, doesn't like to cooperate under pressure. This invisible war plays out every day, in negotiations, relationships, and self-justifications. And the real question becomes not if the face reveals something, but what exactly it reveals first, which leads directly to the next layer of this puzzle. Most people are trained by movies, not reality. They look for shifty eyes, fidgeting hands, nervous laughter. Classic tells that feel right, but rarely are. The problem is simple. Those signs usually indicate stress, not deception. An honest person under pressure can look guiltier than a liar who's calm and rehearsed. That misunderstanding alone causes more broken trust than actual lies. A skilled liar often knows the checklist better than the observer. He controls posture, slows his breathing, maintains eye contact just a bit longer than normal. Meanwhile, the observer relaxes, thinking confidence equals honesty. It's like judging a book by a professionally designed cover while ignoring the first cracked page inside. The real signals don't shout, they whisper, and they do it fast. The face doesn't leak information the way people expect, it leaks it the way the brain fails to censor in time. That's why focusing on obvious behaviors is a dead end. The most reliable clue happens before the liar locks in the performance. And once you understand why most signs are misleading, you're finally ready to see the one reaction that almost always slips through right before control kicks back in. There's a moment blink, and you miss it when the face reacts before the mind finishes editing. It's not a twitch or a nervous smile. It's a micro-reaction tied to emotion, not intention. Disgust, fear, contempt, or surprise can flash across the face in under half a second, and no amount of verbal skill can fully stop it. The brain simply moves too fast for conscious control to keep up. He's watched this play out in everyday situations. A business partner hearing an unexpected number, a friend asked an innocent question, a client confronted gently. The words that follow are smooth, reasonable, sometimes even charming. But just before them, the face betrays the truth: tightened lips, a raised cheek, a flicker of tension around the eyes. It's like the face blurts out the answer before logic says, "Careful." This reaction happens because emotional processing lives deeper than language. Suppressing it requires energy, and energy leaks under pressure. Books like Emotions Revealed by Paul Ekman explore this deeply, but the real mastery comes from observation, not theory. Once someone learns to spot that first flash, they stop chasing lies and start recognizing truth trying and failing to hide. And that naturally raises a bigger question: why the brain leaks the signal in the first place, which opens the door to what's happening underneath the surface. The human brain wasn't designed for lying. It was designed for survival. Emotion fires first to assess threat, safety, or advantage, and only afterward does logic step in to explain things politely. That sequence never really changed, even in modern conversations. So when someone lies, the emotional brain reacts honestly before the rational brain has time to fabricate a story that fits. He often explains it like a smoke alarm going off before you see flames. The alarm isn't optional, it reacts automatically. Logic is the person deciding whether to wave a towel or call the fire department. That split second between alarm and response is where the face shows the truth. You're not seeing guilt. You're seeing recognition, fear of exposure, or internal conflict surfacing briefly. This is why trying to catch liars with pressure rarely works. Pressure activates more control, not less. The real skill is patience and timing, asking neutral questions, letting silence do the work, and watching what happens before the answer arrives. Habits like slowing conversations, reducing your own emotional intensity, and observing instead of reacting sharpen this ability. And once someone understands this neurological leak, the next challenge becomes practical, spotting it naturally, without turning into an awkward human lie detector. This facial clue doesn't show up in dramatic interrogations. It shows up in ordinary life. A casual, "Did you already send that email?" A soft, "Are you sure this is what you want?" Right there, before the answer lands, the face reacts. He's seen it during friendly lunches, first dates, team meetings, places where no one expects to be analyzed, which is exactly why the signal slips through. One classic moment is when expectations are violated. Someone hears a question they didn't prepare for, and the face tightens for a heartbeat. A flash of fear when money is mentioned, contempt when accountability appears, surprise when details don't align. The words that follow often sound reasonable, even convincing, but the emotional response already told the real story. Like a receipt printing before the transaction is canceled, the system already processed the truth. The key is context, not suspicion. This isn't about paranoia. It's about pattern recognition. He suggests observing low-stakes interactions first: friends choosing restaurants, coworkers explaining delays, people reacting to unexpected compliments. These moments train the eye gently, without pressure. And once this awareness becomes natural, the next challenge is learning how to notice it quietly, without freezing the conversation or alerting the other person that something was seen. The biggest mistake beginners make is trying too hard. They stare, narrow their eyes, and suddenly, the conversation feels like an interrogation room. The irony is that detection works best when attention looks relaxed. He treats it like listening to music in the background. You're aware of it, but you're not forcing it. Peripheral awareness catches more truth than direct confrontation ever will. A practical habit is to focus on timing, not expressions. He listens to the question, then watches the face before the answer forms. That's the window. No note-taking, no dramatic pauses, just calm presence. Think of it like watching a traffic light. You're not staring at the color, you're waiting for the change. Books on mindfulness, or even simple practices like daily observation walks, sharpen this skill more than any checklist. Another subtle trick is staying emotionally neutral. Strong reactions, approval, disbelief, impatience push people into control mode fast. Neutrality keeps the emotional brain exposed just long enough to speak. When this becomes second nature, something interesting happens. The observer doesn't just see the clue, they feel when to move next. And knowing what to do with that information is where real power and restraint comes into play. Seeing the clue doesn't mean acting on it immediately. In fact, the fastest way to lose leverage is to expose that you noticed anything at all. He treats it like chess, not checkers. Information is valuable only if it stays quiet long enough to guide the next move. Reacting emotionally, accusing, or calling out the lie only teaches the other person to hide it better next time. The smartest response is often a pause, followed by a neutral follow-up. A simple, interesting, "Tell me more about that," or "How did that part happen?" keeps the conversation open without triggering defenses. This approach mirrors what experienced negotiators and therapists do. They let inconsistencies surface naturally. Journaling interactions later, reflecting on patterns, and reading works like Never Split the Difference help refine this restraint into a skill. What not to do is equally important. Don't moralize, don't confront prematurely, and don't assume malice. A leaked facial clue signals internal conflict, not necessarily bad intent. Used wisely, this awareness deepens understanding instead of breaking trust. And when all the pieces come together, the real transformation isn't about catching liars, it's about seeing human behavior with clarity, calm, and quiet confidence. Most people think liars are exposed by what they say. That belief feels safe, logical, and completely wrong. The real giveaway happens before words even exist. in a place most people never look twice. The face reacts faster than logic can negotiate, and in that tiny gap, truth slips out quietly, reliably, and almost every time. Here's the paradox: the harder someone tries to sound honest, the more pressure builds where control is weakest. That's why smart, confident liars don't scare experienced observers. What raises flags is the moment before confidence appears. A flash most people miss because they're distracted by tone, posture, or eye contact. And once you learn where that flash lives, conversations never feel the same again. This isn't about turning into a human lie detector or distrusting everyone around you. It's about seeing what's already there, hiding in plain sight, and using that awareness to navigate relationships, negotiations, and decisions with calm precision. The reward is subtle but powerful: less confusion, fewer surprises, and a quiet edge most people don't even realize exists. Knowledge only becomes power when it's applied, and this one works best in silence. The real invitation here is to slow down conversations, observe before reacting, and let patterns reveal themselves over time. No confrontation, no drama, just awareness guiding better questions, better timing, and better decisions. Mastery shows up not in what is said, but in what is patiently noticed. It's worth asking, how many misunderstandings could be avoided by watching first and responding later? How many deals, relationships, or self-deceptions might look different if the face was trusted more than the script? This isn't about suspicion, it's about clarity. And clarity, once trained, quietly reshapes how someone moves through the world. If this way of seeing made sense, it's a sign you're ready for deeper levels of human behavior and strategy. Apply one idea from this video today, test it in real life, and observe the results. And if you want to keep sharpening this edge, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because the most valuable insights are usually the ones most people never notice.